trouble?
We got trouble.
How much trouble?
Too much trouble.
Well, now, don't you frown. Just knuckle down and knock on wood. Who's unhappy?
Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine. Here's looking at you, kid. Here's looking at you, kid. Here's looking at you, kid.
No, don't worry, this one isn't a joke. We are indeed going to be talking about the classic film, Casablanca. Believe it or not, I don't exclusively watch 90s movies, monster mashes, and action schlock. That's just what I mostly happen to talk about on YouTube. I actually had this whole speech that I was working on about the magic of cinema and how important film is to me, but I scrapped it because it was starting to make me sound pretentious, and I can't stand that. I'm just a guy who loves movies. And as a guy who loves movies, I sometimes feel like I need to make sure I see some of what are considered, the classics, the big ones, the ones every true cinephile should know and love. Anyway, what's funny is that no matter how many movies you think you've seen, you'll always be talking to someone and they'll be like, well, have you seen this? And you're like, no. And then you realize that there's just so much more out there. And there are a lot of the big dogs that I haven't seen, especially some older ones. I'll admit it, I haven't seen Citizen Kane, Gone with the Wind, The Sound of Music, or Lawrence of Arabia. Although, I would love to give them their due sometime. But today I'm checking another one off the list, which is, well, Casablanca. I don't even know where this DVD came from. It's just been sitting on my shelf forever, in between some other cinematic classics. Casablanca was released in 1942 and was directed by Michael Curtiz, the legendary director behind some of Hollywood's most well-known classics, such as The Adventures of Robin Hood, Angels with Dirty Faces, The Sea Wolf, and even White Christmas. But he's perhaps best known for Casablanca, which won him the Oscar for Best Director, as well as taking home the award for Best Picture. Good job, guys. And of course there's the extensive cast of great cinema stars. You get Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, Paul Henreid, I hope I'm saying that right, Claude Rains, Sidney Greenstreet, and Peter Lorre. The screenplay was also pretty good, I guess, because it too took home an Oscar. Really though, I don't think I need to set this up anymore. You guys probably know more about this than I did going into it. And once again, this is actually my first viewing. This is not a joke. I've never seen this before, and these are my actual honest first impressions. So without further ado, let's fly off to Casablanca. Which has got to hold the record for most A's in a word. Actually, it's tied for second, but that's seriously a lot of them. After the opening credits, we get the rundown on what's going on here. Look at that huge papier-mâché globe. You don't get stuff like that in movies nowadays. World War II has broken out. I'm sure you've heard of it. And those in Europe seeking freedom must follow a dangerous path from France to Casablanca, which is in French Morocco, in order to make their way to Lisbon and then on to the New World. The only problem is that Casablanca is a pretty rough place.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
There's a news flash, and we see that 2 officers were killed, and the suspect is at large. This movie starts at 11. It's so loud and chaotic. There's chasing and running, and boom, they shoot this guy dead for being a part of the French resistance. Sheesh. The scene is capped by a minor reoccurring character explaining to a couple that everyone hopes to make it on the plane to Lisbon, but most just end up being stuck here. He also warns the man to be careful because this place is full of unsavory people, while secretly pickpocketing him. Real smooth. The Nazis arrive, and what is up with this Italian dude? What is his deal?
Relax, dude.
Here we meet the commanding Nazi officer, Major Strasser, who is the main antagonist of the film. He's come to Casablanca to oversee the investigation into the murdered couriers. He's pretty no-nonsense, as I guess you'd expect from a cold, evil Nazi villain. Don't worry though, because to balance it out, the movie also introduces us to Claude Rains as Captain Renault, who is probably my favorite character. He's the chief of the French police in Casablanca, who is not exactly an upstanding citizen himself. He's constantly schmoozing, boozing, womanizing, gambling, taking a bribe, or making a quippy remark, even to the Nazis.
Good. Is he in custody? Oh, there's no hurry. It's a night he'll be at Rick's. Everybody comes to Rick's. I've already heard about this cafe and also about Mr. Rick himself.
Ah yes, that brings us to the coolest place in town, Rick's Café American, which means Rick's American Cafe in English. This place has it all. Food, drinks, live music. People are even ripping on some hookah. I love how the film goes about establishing the locale and characters. We start with some long shots, following guests into the cafe, and then panning across to give us a good look at the spaces we're occupying. Then it starts cutting around to several quick exchanges with characters in order to give us a sense of the kind of desperate and shady people that hang out here. It really makes you feel like this is a living, breathing place. And then we get to meet the man himself, Rick, who's introduced kind of like James Bond, with the pan up to him puffing on a cig. What a cool cat. Although, who's he playing chess with? Himself? He's got his own private room, and like a boss, he gets to decide who can enter and who can't. Like her? Sure. This guy?
Excuse me.
Nah.
I'm sorry, sir.
Someone who is allowed in, though, is Peter Lorre, who has some business to attend to with Rick. He's in possession of some blank signed visas that would get anyone out of the country for the right price. Rick doesn't really like this dude that much.
Thank you. Will you have a drink with me, please?
No.
You despise me, don't you?
Well, if I gave you any thought, I probably would.
But agrees to hold on to the papers temporarily for him. Also, it turns out that he's the guy who killed those German couriers to get them,
I've heard that rumor too. Poor devils.
which earns him a little respect from Rick.
I am a little more impressed with you.
The next person to bother Rick tonight is business rival Ferrari. He owns the Blue Parrot, but wants to expand by purchasing the cafe and Sam.
Hey, wait a minute!
He wants to buy Sam? You can't do that.
Have you ever heard of the Emancipation Proclamation? I don't listen to hip-hop.
This scene is funny though. The bartender is such a ham.
Because he won, I love you.
Oh, shut up. All right, all right. For you, I should have. Rick, there's going to be some excitement here tonight. We're going to make an arrest in your cafe. Again, this is no ordinary arrest. Murderer, no less.
What was this dude thinking would happen here? He tries to be cool and like casually cash out his chips, but then makes a run for it and ends up having to blast a few guys. I mean, I guess they are Nazis, so whatever. Also, here they reveal that Rick is 37?
It's a plain American. It's 37.
What in the world? What? Yeah, anyway. So the main reason that the Nazis are here is that there is a guy in town named Victor Laszlo, who is a leader of the French resistance, and they want to make sure that he doesn't escape and is trapped in Casablanca indefinitely. Laszlo makes his entrance into the cafe, and he is not alone.
Oh, man.
Her presence seems to trouble Sam. More on that soon, don't worry. And delight Renault, who takes some time to schmooze with his new guests.
Please, monsieur, it is a little game we play. They put it on the bill, I tear up the bill. It is very convenient.
Captain, the boy was playing the piano. Somewhere I've seen him.
Wait.
Boy? Hey, wait a minute!
And I hope she is just pretending to not really recognize him, considering what we soon find out. I love this cutaway to the guitar lady. What is this, a David Lynch movie now?
I never expect to see you again.
They definitely have a history together.
It's been a long time.
And she asks him to play a specific song.
Sing it, Sam.
Whoa there, don't be so bossy.
Sam, I thought I told you never to play.
Hearing this draws out Rick, and he looks like he's seen a ghost. Something is definitely going on. They act cordial, but things are a little terse. Ilsa says she knows Rick from back in Paris, but there seems to be a whole lot more to the story. Because even though he's playing it cool, this has got my man all bent out of shape. Later on, he is hitting the bottle hard. What did she do to you, man? Time to flash back to Paris and see what happened between Rick and his mysterious Ilsa. These driving scenes look about as good as the ones in Seinfeld. And I love when a movie just cuts to a shot of people together and they are just casually laughing to illustrate their happy relationship. Basically, the short version is that they were having a lovely little fling there.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Here's looking at you, kid is one of those all-time classic movie lines. Right up there with
There's no place like home.
And
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
And even their romance is cut short when those darn Nazis come to town. These guys ruin everything. Rick must flee because he has a sketchy past and a price on his head, and Sam has to get out of there because, well, you know, the Nazis weren't exactly known for their inclusiveness.
What happened? They wouldn't let me play on the Pro Tour anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because you're black?
And then, after telling him that she would meet him at the train station, Ilsa breaks Rick's heart, in the rain, by not only no-showing him, but breaking up with him through the equivalent of a text message. Wow, that is cold. Story of my life. So he hasn't seen or heard from her since then, and he's obviously not over it, and now here she is with some other dude. She shows up and tries to talk to him, but he's too wasted and he's pretty rude to her. Laszlo has a meeting with Ferrari about getting out of Casablanca. Ferrari can't get them both out of the country with the Nazis around and all, but he suspects Rick might know more than he lets on about those missing letters of transit. Back at the Café American, we get some amusing little gags.
Monsieur Rich, you are getting to be your best customer.
I especially like how the pickpocket guy from earlier bumps into Carl the waiter, and he immediately checks to make sure he hasn't been robbed. And when this French guy mouths off to a German soldier and gets himself slapped, this disturbance causes the Nazis to wonder if keeping Laszlo in Casablanca indefinitely isn't enough. They might have to consider something a little more extreme. On a positive note though, Rick hasn't totally lost his humanity. When this young lady comes to him for help, he vouches for Renault and even fixes a few rounds of roulette to get them the money that they need to get out of town. I knew he still had a heart of gold.
Boss, you've done a beautiful thing.
I love that guy. Unfortunately, he's still got no love for his returned ex-lover or her beloved husband. And when Laszlo is like, bro, why are you so against helping me? Rick goes for a real low blow.
There must be some reason why you won't let me have them. I suggest that you ask your wife. I beg your pardon?
Meanwhile, things are getting too patriotic out in the cafe, an arousing scene. So the Nazis have to shut it all down. Rick's cafe is closed. Speaking of getting shut down, Laszlo is like, so, Ilsa, what's up with you and Rick? And she's just like, I don't really want to talk about it. He's actually surprisingly understanding about all this. I mean, she did think he was dead at the time, so it was kind of an extreme circumstance. They have a nice moment, but then she just runs right back to Rick! She sneaks in the window like she's Sam from Clarissa Explains It All. And at first, she just pleads with him to help, but he's too cool for that. So then she pulls out a gun on him, and he's like, do it then! Do it! Yo, Rick is crazy.
Go ahead and shoot.
Maybe Ilsa is too, though, because Rick does soften up a little bit, but then she confesses her love for him, and they just start making out? Come on, you're married. And Rick, you're a dog. Good grief. All the while, her poor husband is out risking his life for freedom. Rick really is acting like a scoundrel at this point, because when Laszlo shows up at the cafe, he has his friendly waiter sneak Ilsa out the back, and then he has the audacity to go down and have a real conversation with Victor, as if you didn't just have his wife up in your office.
Unforgivable.
But against all odds, Rick does start to see what makes him so admirable. Before they can finish, things get even more crazy when the police bust in and take Laszlo away. Don't worry though, Rick has a plan. a plan that will seemingly benefit everyone except for Laszlo. His grand idea, which he lays out to Renault, is to have Victor temporarily freed, only to have him later arrested again on more severe charges, in exchange for his and Ilsa's safe passage out of the country so that they can live happily ever after. Yikes, that's pretty harsh, dude. At least Rick still has some decency. He finally sells his cafe to Ferrari, but makes sure that his main man Sam is hooked up with a sweet raise, and his other people are kept on and taken care of. So at least there's that. Looks like it's time for the big finale, and everyone starts showing up at the cafe, unaware that Rick is playing them all. What could possibly go wrong? First, he has Laszlo set up with the letters of transport, so Renault can pin their theft and the murder of the couriers on him.
Sorry.
But then the plot thickens when Rick pulls a piece on Louis and forces him to call the airport and guarantee that there won't be any trouble for them when they get there.
I have. Sit down over there.
Put that gun down.
Louis, I wouldn't like to shoot you, but I will if you take one more step.
Under the circumstances, I will sit down.
This gets the attention of the Nazis, and a climactic race ensues. Upon arrival, we get hit with another big twist. Rick decided to get all noble at the last second and tells Louis to put Victor and Elsa's names on the passports instead. He then gives her a very dramatic speech about how she belongs with Laszlo, not him. And after all,
You'll always have Paris.
come on, say the line again, say it.
He's looking at you, kid.
Yeah, there we go. Rick must be feeling extra crazy right now, because not only does he confess to Victor that he macked up his girl the night before, but also smokes the Nazi commander to make sure that the plane gets away. I bet he did not see that coming. And I just gotta say one more time how much I love Renault. Even though he was duped and held at gunpoint, his bromance with Rick is just too strong. He covers for him on the shooting, and they decide to end the movie by walking off into the night together to have further adventures.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
I guess the real Casablanca was the friends we made along the way. The end. Well, now I can say I finally was able to check this one off the list. I found this film to be a lot of fun. I was impressed with, well, how not dated it was. For a film released 82 years ago, it holds up. It's just shot so nicely, with lots of camera movement and interesting framing. We get lots of nice wide shots with tons of extras filling the screen. And you can just tell that this was an extravagant production for the time. Only it wasn't. From what I understand, this actually had a pretty modest budget, so kudos to everyone involved for making the most of it. The cast, as previously stated, is an all-star roster of the day's stars, who all do a good job in their respective roles. And the movie is populated with fun, weird side characters as well, who sometimes steal the show in their scenes. What might have surprised me the most is that this film is funny. There's so many humorous cutaways and gags, people exchange dialogue that is quippy, and deliver lines that actually made me laugh. I always got a kick out of Renault and his antics. He was the real MVP of the movie for me.
On what ground?
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
Other favorites were the crazy Italian guy in the beginning, the friendly bartender,
Cheerio.
and the head waiter. Oh yeah, and the blue parrot. Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman are solid as the star-crossed romantic leads. Although it is a little melodramatic, and they both do some questionable things in the name of love. I guess it's complicated. Rick is like one of those all-time cool movie dudes. He's suave, he's charming, he's cool, he smokes cigarettes, I guess at the time he was pretty much like the ultimate man. And yeah, it is one of the most classic love stories ever. I think what makes it interesting though is the main couple doesn't end up together. It's a nice choice, and although everyone ends up in a good place, it is, a little bit of a tragic story at the same time, so I appreciated that. I honestly enjoyed Casablanca more than I thought I would. It's classic and classy, and I understand why it has the prestige that it does. It definitely made me want to dig into some more older cinema going forward, and I'm glad we were able to go on this adventure together. I know this was a little different than the usual programming here, but hey, it's random reviews, right? Don't worry though, I'll get back to more nonsense soon. I have a few videos in the works which hopefully will come out more regularly than they have been, even a pretty big one, so stay tuned. In the meantime, thanks for watching this. Feel free to check out my older reviews of much stupider movies, and remember, we'll always have Godzilla.